So this is Ari responding to a video feature request that I got from Dennis Daniels. What Dennis was asking about was the ability in Sketchpad to to name different versions of a sketch and access those by name and do other things with those by name. So what I figured I'd do is show how some of this can be done, and some of this is actually new since Dennis asked questions yesterday. So I used that as motivation to make a few changes. So what I'll show is both some of these new features and also just how they can do some of the things that Dennis was asking about doing. So where I'm starting is I'm looking at a sketch that I wrote in the past, and I can run it right here. So you can see what this is it's a green spinner. I did not write the original sketch. What you can see right here is this was based on someone else's sketch, and you can see the original there. But that was the starting point back here. This is what that sketch actually looked like. I've made a number of changes since, and what I can do is show you what that progression looked like a little bit. Why don't I use the arrow keys? That'll be faster. I started playing with some colors. I started playing with the thickness of the lines, the colors of the lines, some variety in the colors. Started messing around with what the color palette was. Started changing how the way in which the spinner is reshaped over time, and took it from there. Anyhow, as with everything else on Sketchpad, what you can do is you can click below a particular author's name to see what exactly they edited. You can see as of this point, these were my edits. So mostly, size, line, weight, a few other things like that. Anyhow, pretty minor things. So what Dennis was asking about, though, had to do with versions. So what I did was I added some versioning here that each P here represents a time that while I was writing the sketch, I hit the render button, that I was interested in seeing what I did. So sometimes that happens quite frequently, and other times there are gaps between the P's, and that reflects instances where I was doing a bunch of work writing changes to the code before I actually re-rendered it to see the changes. So the first thing I added is that on each P, when you mouse over it, you'll see the name of that revision, revision 19, revision 22. And in addition, what you'll see over here is a revision number for whatever is currently selected. Now, here's revision 51. I'm going to pause that for now. And what I'm going to do is jump back to the editor where I initially wrote it. And you'll see here's my code from when I wrote it. And why don't I render this? Control R works just as well as clicking the play button right here. And what I can do is, let's say, make it a square again at 400 by 400. So I'll make that change. You can see my color right now is yellow, so you'll see all my changes in yellow. I assume if I change the color that we'd see that change. There we go. So what I did was I just made a small change to the dimensions of the iframe, which you don't see, to the dimensions of the sketch, which you don't see right now, but if I were to pause and restart it, there we go. So now we're 400 by 400, and you can see, I'll do this again. When I make a change and I do the rendering, up here you see rendered number 77. So if you want to look at the different versions and you click on rollbacks, this is the interface that would let you go back to any prior version. And most of the time, this isn't really necessary, but every now and then you write a sketch and at some point you break it and you're not quite sure where you broke it. So this is a way that you can go back. You can click view on any past rendering to see what your code looked like at that past point in time. Now, there are a few things that this is good for. One is that if you can go back to the one before it started, it stopped working, and restore would do that. And I've been clicking on view just to see what each one of these versions look like. So one of the requests from Dennis was to be able to rename sketches, which you can do. You click on the revision name here, and you can say a new name. So what we just did is we just revised the name of what was between revision 63 and 65. And this is what that particular one looks like. It looks very similar since I haven't made many changes in a little while. But what I'll do is I will go back to the review interface that we were looking at, review, play, share. And what we should see is I'm going to jump around. Here you see we're on revision 49. If I hit play, this will update it as we go. So we were looking for 65, I believe. So here's 64, 63, a new name, 65. So it's number 64. So what you see right now is that that revision that we renamed, you can see right here in the interface. And if I can mouse over it right here, you'll see it's named there also. So if you're interested in naming your revisions, you can do that. My own personal feeling is that right now we have a quick access to any one of our past revisions, and this is actually what I use to find a version that I like. So what I'll do is I'll scroll around until I find what I'm looking for, and if it's the purple one that I want to make a revision on, I'll find that purple one. And what I'll do is I'll scroll down, and what I can do is when I say clone and modify, this is going to clone and modify exactly this version. So this is pretty nice. So what we should see if we clone and modify is starting from the purple sketch and not from the sketch filled with greens. So let's see where we're at. There's the purple sketch. So what you can see up here is the sketch builds on prior work, which was the modified clone of spinner, which I created. And you see the URL of this, and this includes revision number 66. And that in turn was built on a prior work by somebody else who didn't leave their name on it, and this was that version of the sketch. Anyhow, I hope you find that helpful. This is a little intro to how you can name revisions, how you can view things by revisions, and how you can work with playbacks of sketches done by yourself or by other people. Thanks a lot.